The Indus River, also called the Sindhū River or Abāsīn, is a major south-flowing river in South Asia. The total length of the river is 3,180 kilometers, which makes it one of the longest rivers in Asia. Originating in the western part of Tibet in the vicinity of Lake Mansarovar, the river runs a course through Ladakh, Gilgit-Baltistan, and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and then flows along the entire length of Punjab to merge into the Arabian Sea near the port city of Karachi in Sindh. It is the longest river of Pakistan. The river has a total drainage area exceeding 1,165,000 square kilometers. Its estimated annual flow stands at around 207 cubic kilometers, making it the 21st largest river in the world in terms of annual flow. The Zanskar is its left bank tributary in Ladakh. In the plains, its left bank tributary is the Chenab, which itself has four major tributaries, namely the Jhelum, the Ravi, the Beas, and the Sutlej. Its principal right bank tributaries of the Shyok, the Gilgit, the Kabul, the Gurmal, and the Karam, beginning in a mountain spring and fed with glaciers and rivers in the Himalayas. The river supports ecosystems of temperate forests, plains and arid countryside. The Indus forms the delta of present-day Pakistan, mentioned in the Vedic Rig Veda as Sapta Sindhu and the Iranians and Avestar as Hapta Hindu. The river has been a source of wonder since the classical period, with King Darius of Persia sending his Greek subject Silax of Carianda to explore the river as early as 510 BC. Etymology and Names. This river was known to the ancient Iranians in Avestan as Hindus, in Sanskrit as Sindhus, to Assyrians as Sindh, to the Persians as Abāsīn, to the Greeks as Indus, to the Romans as Indus, to the Pashtuns as Abāsīn, to the Arabs as Al-Sind, to the Chinese as Sindhū, and to the Javanese as Santri. In Pali, Sindhu means river, stream, and refers to the Indus River in particular. The word Indus is the Romanized form of the ancient Greek word Indos, borrowed from the Old Persian word Hindus, which is in turn borrowed from the Sanskrit word Sindhu. Megasthenes's book Indica derives its name from the river's Greek name, Indos, and describes Nearchus's contemporaneous account of how Alexander the Great crossed the river. The ancient Greeks referred to the Indians as Indoi, literally meaning the people of the Indus, the country of India, and the Pakistani province of Sindhu, the names to the river. Rigveda and the Indus. Rigveda also describes several mythical rivers, including one named Sindhu. The Rigvedic Sindhu is thought to be the present-day Indus River and is attested 176 times in its texts, 95 times in the plural, more often used in the generic meaning. In the Rigveda, notably in the later hymns, the meaning of the word is narrowed to refer to the Indus River in particular, as in the list of rivers mentioned in the hymn of Nadistuti Sukta. The Rigvedic hymns apply a feminine gender to all the rivers mentioned therein, but Sindhu is the only river attributed with a masculine gender. Sindhu is seen as a strong warrior amongst other rivers, which are seen as goddesses and compared to cows and mares yielding milk and butter. Other names. In other languages of the region, the river is known as in Hindi and Nepali, in Sindhi, in Shamaki Punjabi, in Gurmukhi Punjabi, in Pashto, in Arabic, in Tibetan, in Chinese, and Nilab in Turkic. Description. The Indus River provides key water resources for Pakistan's economy, especially the breadbasket of Punjab province, which accounts for most of the nation's agricultural production, and Sindh. The word Punjab means land of five rivers, and the five rivers are Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Beas and Sutlej, all of which finally flow into the Indus. The Indus also supports many heavy industries and provides the main supply of potable water in Pakistan. The ultimate source of the Indus is in Tibet. The river begins at the confluence of the Sengyi-Zangbo and Gar-Sangpo rivers that drain the Namdlong, Kangri and Gangdei-Zhoushan mountain ranges. The Indus then flows northwest through Ladakh and Baltistan into Gilgit just south of the Karakoram range. The Shyok, Shigar and Gilgit rivers carry glacial waters into the main river. It gradually bends to the south, coming out of the hills between Peshawar and Rawalpindi. The Indus passes gigantic gorges 4,500–5,200 meters deep near the Nanga Parbat Massif. It flows swiftly across Hazara and is dammed at the Tabila Reservoir. The Kabul River joins it near Attic. The remainder of its route to the sea is in the plains of the Punjab and Sindh, where the flow of the river becomes slow and highly braided. It is joined by the Panjshad at Mithangkot. Beyond this confluence, the river at one time was named the Satnad River, as the river now carried the waters of the Kabul River, the Indus River and the 5 Punjab rivers. Passing by Jamshoro, it ends in a large delta to the east of Thatta. The Indus is one of the few rivers in the world to exhibit a tidal bore. The Indus system is largely fed by the snows and glaciers of the Himalayas, Karakoram and the Hindu Kush ranges of Tibet, the Indian states of Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh and Gilgit-Baltistan of Pakistan. The flow of the river is also determined by the seasons. It diminishes greatly in the winter, while flooding its banks in the monsoon months from July to September. There is also evidence of a steady shift in the course of the river since prehistoric times. It deviated westwards from flowing into the Rann of Kutch and adjoining Banna grasslands after the 1816 earthquake. The traditional source of the river is the Sengho Kabab or Lion's Mouth, a perennial spring, not far from the sacred Mount Kailash, marked by a long low line of Tibetan chaltins. There are several other tributaries nearby, which may possibly form a longer stream than Sengho Kabab, but unlike the Sengho Kabab, are all dependent on snow melt. The Zansk, a river which flows into the Indus in Ladakh, has a greater volume of water than the Indus itself. Before that point, that night in the tent I asked Son Metering which of the Indus tributaries which we crossed this morning is the longest. All of them, he says, start at least a day's walk away from here. The Bukhar begins near the village of Yagra. The Lamanase's source is in a holy place. There is a monastery there. The Dorjungla is a very difficult and long walk, 3 days perhaps, and there are many sharp rocks, but its water is clear and blue. Hence the tributary's other name, Zomchu, which Karma Lama translates as blue water. The Rakmajang rises from a dark lake called the Black Sea, one of the longest tributaries, and thus a candidate for the river's technical source is the Klhu, the river we crossed yesterday by bridge, also known as the Lungdepchu. It flows into the Indus from the southeast, and rises a day's walk from Darchen, but Sonam Tring insists that the Dorjungla is the longest of the 3 types of water that fall into the Sengsanplo. History. Paleolithic sites have been discovered in Podhohar near Pakistan's capital Islamabad, with the stone tools of the Soan culture. In ancient Gandhara, near Islamabad, evidence of cave dwellers dated 15,000 years ago has been discovered at Mardin. The major cities of the Indus Valley civilization, such as Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro, date back to around 3300 BC, and represent some of the largest human habitations of the ancient world. The Indus Valley civilization extended from across Pakistan and northwest India, with an upward reach from east of Jhelum River to Ropar on the upper Sutlej. The coastal settlements extended from Sutkagan at the Pakistan-Iran border to Kutch in modern Gujarat, India. There is an Indus site on the Amu Darya at Shortuf I in northern Afghanistan, and and the Indus site Alamgirpur at the Hindus River is located only 28 kilometers from Delhi. To date, over 1,052 cities and settlements have been found, mainly in the general region of the Ganga-Hakra River and its tributaries. Among the settlements were the major urban centers of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro, as well as Lothal, Dholavira, Ganeriwala, and Rakhigai. Only 90 to 96 of more than 800 known Indus Valley sites have been discovered on the Indus and its tributaries. The Sutlej, now a tributary of the Indus, in Harappan times flowed into the Ganga-Hakra River, in the watershed of which were more Harappan sites than along the Indus. Most scholars believe that settlements of Gandhara grave culture of the early Indo-Aryans flourished in Gandhara from 1700 BC to 600 BC, when Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa had already been abandoned. The word India is derived from the Indus River. In ancient times, India initially referred to those regions immediately along the east bank of the Indus, but by 300 BC, Greek writers including Herodotus and Megasthenes were applying the term to the entire subcontinent that extends much farther eastward. The lower basin of the Indus forms a natural boundary between the Iranian plateau and the Indian subcontinent. This region embraces all or parts of the Pakistani provinces Balochistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Punjab and Sindh, and the countries Afghanistan and India. It was crossed by the invading armies of Alexander, but after his Macedonians conquered the west bank, joining it to the Hellenic Empire, they elected to retreat along the southern course of the river, ending Alexander's Asian campaign. The Indus Plains were later dominated by the Persian Empire and then the Kushan Empire. Over several centuries, Muslim armies of Muhammad bin Qasim, Mahmud of Ghazni, Muhammad Ghori, Tamerlane and Babur crossed the river to invade the inner regions of the Punjab and points farther south and east. Geography. Tributaries. Geology. The Indus River feeds the Indus submarine fan, which is the second largest sediment body on the Earth at around 5 million cubic kilometers of material eroded from the mountains. Studies of the sediment in the modern river indicate that the Karakoram Mountains in northern Pakistan and India are the single most important source of material, with the Himalayas providing the next largest contribution, mostly via the large rivers of the Punjab. Analysis of sediments from the Arabian Sea has demonstrated that prior to 5 million years ago the Indus was not connected to these Punjab rivers, which instead flowed east into the Ganges and were captured after that time. Earlier work showed that sand and silt from western Tibet was reaching the Arabian Sea by 45 million years ago, implying the existence of an ancient Indus River by that time. The delta of this proto-Indus River has subsequently been found in the Katawaz Basin, on the Afghan-Pakistan border, in the Nanga Parbat region. The massive amounts of erosion due to the Indus River following the capture and rerouting through that area is thought to bring middle and lower crustal rocks to the surface. In November 2011, satellite images showed that the Indus River had re-entered India, feeding Great Rann of Kutch, Little Rann of Kutch and a lake near Ahmedabad known as Mansarovar. Heavy rains had left the river basin along with the Lake Mansarovar, Lake Hemal and Kalray Lake inundated. This happened 2 centuries after the Indus River shifted its course westwards following the 1819 Rann of Kutch earthquake. Wildlife. Accounts of the Indus Valley from the times of Alexander's campaign indicate a healthy forest cover in the region, which has now considerably receded. The Mughal Emperor Babur writes of encountering rhinoceroses along its bank in his memoirs. Extensive deforestation and human interference in the ecology of the Shivalik Hills has led to a marked deterioration in vegetation and growing conditions. The Indus Valley regions are arid with poor vegetation. Agriculture is sustained largely due to irrigation works. The Indus River and its watershed has a rich biodiversity. It is home to around 25 amphibian species and 147 species, 22 of which are only found in the Indus. Mammals. The blind Indus River dolphin is a subspecies of dolphin found only in the Indus River. It formerly also occurred in the tributaries of the Indus River. According to the World Wildlife Fund claims it is one of the most threatened cetaceans, with only about 1,000 still existing. Fish. Paddlefish Tenulosa ilicia of the river is a delicacy for people living along the river. The population of fish in the river is moderately high, with Sakura, Thatta and Kotri being the major fishing centers, all in the lower Sindh course. But damming and irrigation has made fish farming an important economic activity. Located southeast of Karachi, the large delta has been recognized by conservationists as one of the world's most important ecological regions. Here the river turns into many marshes, streams and creeks and meets the sea at shallow levels. Here marine fishes are found in abundance, including pomfret and prawns. Economy. The Indus is the most important supplier of water resources to the Punjab and Sindh plains. It forms the backbone of agriculture and food production in Pakistan. The river is especially critical since rainfall is meager in the lower Indus Valley. Irrigation canals were first built by the people of the Indus Valley civilization, and later by the engineers of the Kushan Empire and the Mughal Empire. Modern irrigation was introduced by the British East India Company in 1850. The construction of modern canals accompanied with the restoration of old canals. The British supervised the construction of one of the most complex irrigation networks in the world. The Gadu Barrage is 1,350 meters long, irrigating Sakura, Jacobabad, Larkana and Kalat. The Sakura Barrage serves over 20,000 square kilometers. After Pakistan came into existence, a water control treaty signed between India and Pakistan in 1960 guaranteed that Pakistan would receive water from the Indus River and its two tributaries, the Jhelum River and the Chenab River, independently of upstream control by India. The Indus Basin project consisted primarily of the construction of two main dams, the Mangla Dam built on the Jhelum River and the Tarbela Dam constructed on the Indus River, together with the subsidiary dams. The Pakistan Water and Power Development Authority undertook the construction of the Chashma-Jhelum Link Canal, linking the waters of the Indus and Jhelum rivers, extending water supplies to the regions of Bahawalpur and Multan. Pakistan constructed the Tarbela Dam near Rawalpindi, standing 2,743 meters long and 143 meters high, with an 80-kilometer-long reservoir. The Kotri Barrage near Hyderabad is 915 meters long and provides additional supplies for Karachi. It supports the Chashma Barrage near Dera Ismail Khan used for irrigation and flood control. The Townsa Barrage near Dera Ghazi Khan produces 100,000 kilowatts of electricity. The extensive linking of tributaries with the Indus has helped spread water resources to the valley of Peshawar in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. The extensive irrigation and dam projects provide the basis for Pakistan's large production of crops such as cotton, sugarcane and wheat. The dams also generate electricity for heavy industries and urban centers. People. The inhabitants of the regions through which the Indus River passes and forms a major natural feature and resource are diverse in ethnicity, religion, national and linguistic backgrounds. On the northern course of the river in the state of Jammu and Kashmir in India, live the Buddhist people of Ladakh of Tibetan stock, and Adads of Indo-Aryan Adadic stock in practicing Buddhism and Islam. Then it descends into Baltistan, northern Pakistan, passing the main Balti city of Sindhū. A river from Dubbar also drains into it at Dubbar. People living in this area are mainly Kohistani and speak the Kohistani language. Major areas through which the Indus River passes in Kohistan are Dasu, Patan and Dubbar. As it continues through Pakistan, the Indus River forms a distinctive boundary of ethnicity and cultures. Upon the western banks the population is largely Pashtun, Baloch, and of other Iranian stock. The eastern banks are largely populated by people of Indo-Aryan stock, such as the Punjabis and the Sindhs. In northern Punjab and the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, ethnic Pashtun tribes live alongside Dardic people in the hills, Mirages, and Punjabi people. The people living along the Indus River speak Punjabi and Sindhi on the eastern side, Pashto plus Baluchi as well as Baroi. In the province of Sindh, the upper third of the river is inhabited by people speaking Saraiki, which is a somewhat transitional dialect of the Punjabi and Sindhi languages. Modern issues. The Indus is a strategically vital resource for Pakistan's economy and society. After Pakistan and India declared independence from the British Raj, also known as Indian Empire, the use of the waters of the Indus and its 5 eastern tributaries became a major dispute between India and Pakistan. The irrigation canals of the Sutlej Valley and the Barri Duaba were split, with the canals lying primarily in Pakistan and the headwork dams in India, disrupting supply in some parts of Pakistan. The concern over India building large dams over various Punjab rivers that could undercut the supply flowing to Pakistan, as well as the possibility that India could divert rivers in the time of war, caused political consternation in Pakistan, holding diplomatic talks brokered by the World Bank. India and Pakistan signed the Indus Waters Treaty in 1960. The treaty gave India control of the 3 easternmost rivers of the Punjab, the Sutlej, the Beas and the Ravi, while Pakistan gained control of the 3 western rivers, the Jhelum, the Chenab and the Indus. India retained the right to use of the western rivers for non-irrigation projects, known as the Balihar Project. There are concerns that extensive deforestation, industrial pollution and global warming are affecting the vegetation and wildlife of the Indus Delta, while affecting agricultural production as well. There are also concerns that the Indus River may be shifting its course westwards, although the progression spans centuries. On numerous occasions, sediment clogging owing to poor maintenance of canals has affected agricultural production and vegetation. In addition, extreme heat has caused water to evaporate, leaving salt deposits that render lands useless for cultivation. Recently, India's construction of dams on the river, which Pakistan claims is in violation of the Indus Waters Treaty reducing water flow into Pakistan, has caused Pakistan to take the issue to the international courts for arbitration. Effects of climate change on the river. The Tibetan Plateau contains the world's 3rd largest store of ice. Keen Dehi, the former head of the China Meteorological Administration, said the recent fast pace of melting and warmer temperatures will be good for agriculture and tourism in the short term, but issued a strong warning. Temperatures are rising 4 times faster than elsewhere in China, and the Tibetan glaciers are retreating at a higher speed than in any other part of the world. In the short term, this will cause lakes to expand and bring floods and mud flows. In the long run, the glaciers are vital lifelines of the Indus River. Once they vanish, water supplies in Pakistan will be in peril. Quote, "There is insufficient data to say what will happen to the Indus," says David Gray, the World Bank's senior water advisor in South Asia. but we all have very nasty fears that the flows of the Indus could be severely affected by glacier melt as a consequence of climate change, and reduced by perhaps as much as 50%. Now, what does that mean to a population that lives in a desert without the river? There would be no life. I don't know the answer to that question, he says. But we need to be concerned about that. Deeply concerned. Pollution. Over the years, factories on the banks of the Indus River have increased levels of water pollution in the river and the atmosphere around it. High levels of pollutants in the river have led to the deaths of endangered Indus River dolphin. The Sindh Environmental Protection Agency has ordered polluting factories around the river to shut down under the Pakistan Environmental Protection Act, 1997. Death of the Indus River dolphin has also been attributed to fishermen using poison to kill fish and scooping them up. As a result, the government banned fishing from Gadu Barrage to Sakkur. 2010 floods. In July 2010, following abnormally heavy monsoon rains, the Indus River rose above its banks and started flooding. The rain continued for the next 2 months, devastating large areas of Pakistan. In Sindh, the Indus burst its banks near Sakkur on the 8th of August, submerging the village of Morkhan-Jatwa. In early August, the heaviest flooding moved southward along the Indus River from severely affected northern regions toward western Punjab, where at least 1,400,000 acres of cropland was destroyed, and the southern province of Sindh. As of September 2010, over 2,000 people had died and over 1 million homes had been destroyed since the flooding began. 2011 floods. The 2011 Sindh floods began during the Pakistani monsoon season in mid-August 2011, resulting from heavy monsoon rains in Sindh, eastern Balochistan, and southern Punjab. The floods caused considerable damage. An estimated 434 civilians were killed, with 5.3 million people and 1,524,773 homes affected. Sindh is a fertile region and often called the breadbasket of the country. The damage and toll of the floods on the local agrarian economy was said to be extensive. At least 1.7 million acres of arable land were inundated. The flooding followed the previous year's floods, which devastated a large part of the country. Unprecedented torrential monsoon rains caused severe flooding in 16 districts of Sindh. Barrages, bridges and dams. In Sindh currently there are 3 barrages on Indus River: Gadu Barrage, Sakkur Barrage, Kotri Barrage. There are some bridges on River Indus, such as Dadu Moro Bridge, Lakhanakapur Indus River Bridge, Thatisajawal Bridge, Jokmula Katiyar Bridge, and recently planned Kandkot Kotki Bridge over River Indus. Kalabagh Barrage, Kasma Barrage, Townsa Barrage are also built in Punjab on Indus River. Tarbela Dam is constructed on the Indus River, whereas the controversial Kalaba Dam is also being constructed on Indus River. Gallery Bibliography.